Thank you very much. Quick shot. Deficio there wanted to hear your thoughts, Spawn. So I'm going to come to you first. After what we saw in the remade game in terms of picked bans, entirely new stuff came out, and EDG going for this Siege comp.
Yeah, and, you know, historically is 100% correct that they struggled with this, and then they had one composition that they could make work, and this is why I actually thought it would work, and that was their Azir Jinx composition. And this is a very similar feeling, right? You've got a Veigar and you've got a Caitlyn, and this is why I actually really like this game out of Fnatic, because when you look at this on paper, if you were going to take two teams that had no names and put the team comps side by side on paper, you say EDG outpicked the heck out of this guy, because what they did is they made them tunnel and Tahm Kench, which says that there is no engage coming in, and then they know that Huni plays non-engaged top laners like the Riven. Honestly, Fnatic had one win condition, and that was snowball their top laner. The credit that you have to give to Fnatic is that this team is that damn good at the game that they had one win condition and they completely blew EDG out of the water. That was a very one-sided affair.
I think the question...
hold on, just EDG on your screen looking, you know, a little down in the dumps here. Down 0-2 is not the way they wanted to start this series. Back to you, Yamada.
I think the question that comes to mind when you think of the win conditions, I was saying before that I cannot see what is good against Fiora, but with the Riven pick coming in, how good is it actually against Fiora? We see that Huni has experience with the Riven, he has experience with the Fiora, and is playing this match up like really well. So the question is, in the future, will Riven bans come in if Koro still wants to play this Fiora? That is the question to me. Because if, in reality, if Riven is really good against Fiora, that is a proper win condition to play by.
And interestingly, just a statistic on Huni's picks, this is the first time at Worlds that he's played a champion. He has played Yasuo, Darius, Hecarim, Gnar, Echo, J4, Riven, and now Riven again. So a very diverse champion pool there.
His Riven, he gets to make flashy plays on it. Both times he's come up really huge on it. I think that's a really great champion to put him on. And you get this split push and skirmish style that we've been seeing from Fnatic and has been prevalent in their statistics. But also, not only did they get Huni massively far ahead and he hit break points like level 2 ultimate, level 3 ultimate way before Koro did. I don't think Koro even got rank 3 ultimate in this game. You also had Febiven. He came down. He was a big beneficiary of this fight. He ends up getting a triple kill off of roaming to help the Riven. So even though you're getting this Huni ahead, you're getting him levels, you're getting him a CS advantage because he's manipulating the wave after this point with pressure, Febiven is hitting item breakpoints where now Veigar and Caitlyn have to watch out for themselves immensely. And the retaliation, this is where I disagree with you, Spawn, about losing in pick ban, because you still have a win condition that you can play to, even though, like that, in my opinion, that is not losing pick ban. That is still having a strategy that you can play towards, and I completely disagree, because Tahm Kench shuts down what they wanted to do with the pick.
Well, let me let Spawn. Hold on, everyone. Let me direct Spawn first.
How does Tahm Kench stop a turret siege?
Tahm Kench stops the engage and somebody getting blown up. This is a one-trick blow-up.
So no, it's not a one-trick blow-up comp. This comp is drop the Veigar ultimate on top of the turret, and they cannot wave play successfully.
And you throw out Jinx traps, and you go ahead and you zone with the Jinx as well. You have this range.
Hold up.
They have no wave clear. They have no wave clear. So the way Veigar ultimate works is if you actually put it on your backline minion wave, no one can clear that wave because the only way LeBlanc can do it is throw herself into the cage, and Jinx can't actually get close enough because of the zoning tools of the Veigar and of a Morgana. This was 100% a siege comp against a comp that ran absolutely zero wave clear. There is no way that you can actually say in an even matchup up until like 40 points in the game, they had a win condition apart from split push with the Riven. And that is where they got ahead.
Now, hold up, please. I want to go to Yamato now to get another person's take on this.
It's like, in reality, what it is, I think it's a reverse of what we saw in the game that was, of course, remade. It is just a question of, I agree with Spawn, and I also agree with you, because the early game is in favor of Fnatic simply because of the LeBlanc and the Riven, but the top lane matchup, which was the bot lane matchup, is weaker. But if they cannot play on this pressure that they gain from these strong matchups, of course they're going to end up in a situation where EDG can siege, and that is a situation where Fnatic can't respond. But in reality, Fnatic also have a clear win condition with 2 stronger lanes. So I agree with both of you.
Okay, now I want to come back to you, Zyrene.
But if you agree with both of us, it means it wasn't a losing champion select for either team.
Yeah, I think it was a good draft.
Yeah, no, I think it is a very good draft. What I'm trying to say is one team comp is much harder to execute on. So when you go into a pick ban phase, right, you do not say that unless this lane gets significantly ahead by 15 minutes in the game, we lose this game. That, to me, is a horrible way to bet. As a coach, I would shudder to think that Daylor went into this game and said, if we do not snowball a lane that has lost 2 games in a row by 15 minutes, we will lose this game. That, to me, is just a bizarre curveball to throw, but they threw it and it ended up winning. What I'm trying to say is that equal time, these teams are always in the favor of the zone control.
The argument is that the win condition can't come from we need to be ahead by X amount of gold. The win condition is in an even state, right?
Yeah.
Which of these teams is going to perform better against the other?
But that's a stylistic difference when you're looking at it, because as a coach, I could say, I want to pick a matchup that we're going to give a lot of resources to, try to snowball it, and that's a win condition there. If your win condition is to make it so that you have one person who's ahead and you're like, I can't bet on that, then can I bet on anything in the game at all? I feel like that's something, because it's never going to be at an even state 100% of the time.
I see as well, like, when you think of a pick and ban, it has to work in theory. And the question comes into mind is consistency. I understand that there's a certain risk coming into the draft with the Riven, but in reality, the real question is how good is Riven against Fiora? Because if this matchup is very, like, one-sided, as we saw, this is the first time I see this matchup being played in a tournament, then the strategy makes sense, because it is, you just play on the fact that Riven's going to win on that matchup.
I want to bring it full circle now, back to the teams at hand and how this can affect the series moving forward. We have seen an example of Riven getting extraordinarily far ahead of Fiora. However, we've made the claim that if that doesn't happen, EDG would have been in an advantageous position. Yeah. So what needs to then change on EDG's side in order to not allow that lead to be created by Fnatic and put themselves in a position 5-10 minutes later in the game where they can set up that siege?
So one thing EDG did really well game 1, which they didn't do this game, was maintaining double pink wards on top lane. I actually feel like this, if you go back and watch a replay, and teams will do this with carry top laners, like that they're going to either run into Smeb and they'll run into Myron at some point if they're able to get through some of these, or someday. That double pink ward in top lane actually made Huni play the lane very differently to how Huni normally plays. So I think if they can go back to that, cheat towards bottom side of the map and maintain the double pink wards, it will actually help them out.
No, I was just going to say I agree. Go ahead, Yamato.
I feel like the thing is, what allowed them to get these pink wards was the fact that Fiora was in a stronger matchup in this particular game. He was being against this Jarvan, and in the case of Riven, she's very strong. I feel the solution is put her in a lane swap, make sure she's behind in the game. Then she's not going to impact the game as much, only the lane phase, because she's always strong.
I was talking about Huni in general, not the Riven matchup. I just think Huni in general needs to be affected mentally because his skills on Summoner's Rift are way too good.
Well, compelling stuff. Fnatic is just one win away from advancing to next week's semifinals in Brussels. We'll take a look at match point right after this.
It is game 2 of Fnatic versus EDG. It's a messy fight so far, 2 for 2, and it's Jungler on mid lane action. That's a triple kill. Huni's going to use those broken wings to get away, and he gets eaten. Yellow Star saves him. Another kill for Febiven. Big AoE. Mako's been tagged, and a quiet taste will not even be needed. Get excited with Reckless is running away. A 3-man stun. Huni's not able to push EDG back. Fnatic crush Edward Gaming.